Good evening, Professor. My name is Anna Hatfield. This is Individual Learning Plan Part 2, Persona Needs for Psychology 360, Special Education and Rehabilitation. For this Part 2 of Individual Learning Plan Persona Needs, I have Billy Stark, age 13, who has been through a lot. His parents are no longer together. Mother has left the family. Father is an ex-alcoholic, recovered. Billy has demonstrated many behavior problems. He's very withdrawn. In part one, I came to the conclusion that maybe he had some form of ADHD and also, of course, behavioral problems due to the fact that his mother abandoned the family and he has some sort of emotional problem, of course, depression and whatnot. So for this part 2, I wanted to cover more on the behavior and why. One of the questions is, it says 3 possible learning strategies to meet your students' needs. And after researching ways for him to be able to be engaged in the classroom, because he's very withdrawn in the classroom and he's argumentative, he has violent occasions. It's not every day, but according to the National Library of Medicine, National Center for Biotechnology Information, author Young To, the title is Effectiveness of Physical Activity Interventions for ADHD Symptoms. I did think that he has some sort of that attention deficit due to the fact maybe that he has all these behavioral problems. So according to this article, they have assessed and to assess the effectiveness of physical activity intervention on attention deficit. So I believe that Billy Stark, if he had some sort of physical activity intervention, meaning like more extracurricular activities after school or during school, would help him stay focused, would create happy hormones. I'm trying to think of what they're called, because when we exercise, when we're outside, we get happy. And so I think that would help him out to not be so stressed out in classroom and thinking so much about the absence of his mother. That's one of the strategies. Also, setting goals for the child. According to this article by Credit Health Team, 5 ways you can help a social withdrawn child. It describes that there are seasons that behind the withdrawal from the children, and one of the examples that they give is setting a goal for the child. It says not many parents know that a decent number of social withdrawn children actually like being a more involved participant in social activities. So although we see like this a lot of negativity from Billy as far as school and wanting to stay engaged, I believe that just like the other article that mentions physical activities, this article mentions social activities, which can also be soccer, basketball, or just going maybe to like a camp, a youth camp, preferably a Christian youth camp, because I believe Christ can move mountains and can change behaviors within us when we become believers. So in such cases, you can set goals for them which are achievable yet challenging for them. So I think that's a really good strategy. Also, there are some depression issues with Billy. and there is a Beck Depression Intervention, which is BDI. The Beck Depression Intervention, the Beck Depression Inventory is widely used to screen for depression and to measure behavioral manifestations and severity of depression. These assessments are used for ages 13 to 80 years old. And I believe if he can get assessed and get treated, this would be another helpful way to be able to treat Billy Stark's emotional and behavioral issues that of course go back to his early childhood of witnessing his dad drinking and his mother just not being involved. So I think that an assessment to see where his depression lies is very important. One of the other questions says, the rationale for why the possible strategies will be best met your students' learning needs. Definitely the rationale behind it is to get him focused. Also, another way to get the child focused is to, when you're teaching, kind of circle around them and, to maybe tap them on the shoulder and be engaged with them, because it's very easy for children that might be experiencing ADHD or problems at home, such as Billy, to kind of stay focused, to be reminded that, hey, I'm being taught, hey, I'm here in class. So if the teacher kind of gets up and walks around and, is engaged with the student, that would be extremely helpful. So the rationale behind it would be, of course, to keep Billy interested in school, and through activities, whether they be after school or during school, sports activities, something that's physical, will help him also release the tension that he has going on. Predictions, that is my prediction for intervention is in the rehabilitation services is mainly that keeping the child active will lead to a healthier child mentally, physically, emotionally. That's my prediction. And the intended learning outcomes of assessment. The outcome for him of learning assessment would be, first of all, to get that depression assessment, to see someone in regards to be able to just take care of that behavior, what's going on, get behind it, get to the root of it. That would be the intention, so that we can get to the learning process and just getting everyone involved and focused on this child's background, so that we can tread lightly and also treat with empathy and love and God's grace. So that is my conclusion, my part 2 for individual learning plan persona needs. Have a good evening.